Peace and bliss. Welcome back to Reclaiming Our Roots for another summer garden tour. This will be garden tour number 2. And I'm standing out here in front of my beautiful and green, lush sweet potato row. As you all recall, this row here had Yukon Gold potatoes in it. And I'll link that harvest at the end of this video so you can see how that turned out. Very productive. I planted 1 seed potato per container and it had a really nice bountiful harvest. So yeah, everything is looking good. These are the Beauregard sweet potatoes. They grow well in our region. I am in growing zone 7A, Maryland. And this is a high producing variety here. So I planted those here, and I also have 2 more containers on top of the roof. But yeah, you can see it sprawling about, beautiful. And one thing you want to know about your sweet potatoes, you do not want them to take root on the ground, because when they do, they will set down roots and start to produce a potato. So what I generally do, I just fold them onto themselves. I'm trying to train them to trellis up the wall. This one is a quick learner and it's starting to take weight. So I'm just trying to trellis them. And what I'm trying to create is a beautiful sweet potato wall here, covered in sweet potato vines. So yeah, that's what you want to do, because you don't want it to take away the energy from the mother plant. You want it to focus on growing and vining out and not producing a potential potato where it puts down roots. So I just bring them up, and as you can see, everything is wet because I just gave the garden a drink. Fed some, watered others. I administered a round of phosphorus and potassium for my flower producing plants, which does not include the sweet potatoes, so they were just watered this morning. And this here is my beautiful thyme and rosemary container, which is beautiful as always. And purple, this is my purple sage. I've made several harvests on this. I will be making another harvest. I'll be pruning it back pretty heavy. I'm gonna do some dehydrating. I think I'm gonna bring you all along for that. And this here, oh, where's my teacup? Mama Bear. This is my beautiful and lustrous Malabar Spinach plant. She is Cadillacing. Isn't she beautiful? So I've made a harvest on her, and we'll be making another harvest. And what I do with the spinach leaves, I've eaten them in fresh salads, and the rest I'm freezing in gallon-sized Ziploc bags. And so we'll have a spinach stew. I may bring you all along for that when I prepare that, so you all can see how that is prepared. So yeah, I am happy with Malabar spinach. I've read so much about it, watched so many videos on it last year, and I was like, I have to have that heat tolerant spinach in my garden. And it thrives. It thrives in the heat, unlike most spinach. Once it gets really hot, it starts to bolt. But not this one. Very heat tolerant. And I like the fact it vines out. See that? It's beautiful. Will definitely grow more in the fall. Not in the fall, but next year. I don't know. I may try some seeds in the fall and just see how it does. I'm a curious cat, so we'll see. And over here is my beautiful basil. I'll be making a heavy prune on this one as well. Need to do some pesto. So it's looking beautiful, and it's starting to set flower. The basil does very well in the heat anyway, but it's in a perfect location because it gets just the right amount of heat and shade, and it's just gorgeous. And over here are my 2 okra trees that I am not pleased with, guys. This variety, I don't know if it's because of the climate for this seed variety. I don't know It has been a scorcher this year. Actually, it's been a scorcher around the country, but we've had a fair share of our rain, severe storms. So we've kind of had a balance here in Maryland. And I don't know what it is. It's very slow to grow and produce. I have yet to see a blossom. You see here, you see the blossoms there, the buds, but it hasn't opened blossom yet. And you can see that over here. So we'll see. This is the Motherland variety. I sourced this from Baker Creek. So we'll see. I will not be purchasing any more seeds. I'm gonna try it again next year. I'm not gonna completely rule it out. Maybe the temperatures we sustained this year was not conducive for this okra variety. I don't know, but we'll see. Clemson Spineless is a tried and true and family favorite forever. So I kind of compare it to that one. And I know if I had planted my Clemson Spineless at the time that I planted these two, I would be reaping harvest by now, but we'll see. We'll see. And over here, this is an Advarsky. No, this is the, what is this? Oh my gosh. I cannot think of, Makoni. There we go, Makoni peppers. Slow to produce. I've noticed that in my garden this year. It's a reoccurring theme. My plants are slow to produce. I'm consistently watering. I'm consistently feeding. But it's like they're fruiting at a snail's pace. And I just don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the soil. I don't know if it's because of the hot temperatures, which could play a part. I don't know. I don't know if it's because maybe they were weak transplants from the beginning and it's starting to show. And they're just starting to play catch up. I don't know, but they are producing. They're loaded in buds. So God willing, they will, you know, produce some fruit, which I think they will. So I'm just exercising patience. And over here is another Makoni. They look beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And over here is a pineapple tomato plant that has yet to flower. So we shall see. And this is another Makoni, as you can see. It's putting on buds, but no peppers. So I just feel like I'm just, you know, growing leaves at this point. But again, I'm gonna exercise patience. And this here is my favorite red bell. This is the Advarsky. It's a sweet bell pepper that I use for stuffing, and I put it in my tomato sauce. As you can see, it's put on fruit here, and it's loaded in blossoms. So we shall see. And over here is another Advarsky, and as you can see, look at the size of that baby. I love these because these are giant size, sweet red bells. They have a thick wall flesh. So this one is really putting on fruit. And my beautiful marigold. And this is another Advarsky, loaded with peppers, as you can see. Just being patient. So I probably won't reap a bountiful harvest probably until the end of August, I suspect. So better late than never, right? So again, this is another Advarsky. And over here, as I mentioned in the previous videos, these are my two cucumber plants that have done kick butt well this year. This is a new variety. This is a bush. These are Bush Slicer is the name of the variety, and it has really put on. I mean, I have cucumbers out the wazoo that I have harvested. It's a total of 2 plants per container for a total of 4 plants, and I have been very pleased with this cucumber. I will be growing it again next year. As you can see, still, and there's another cucumber down there, I'll show you. But it's doing well. But as you can see, it is starting to sustain some disease. So I will be pulling it out and doing a second succession, not of cucumbers, because as you all saw in the last video, I started a second succession of cucumbers on my balcony. So I'm gonna do Blue Lake beans here. I decided I'm gonna have my beans down here opposed to on the rooftop. So yeah, so they're doing pretty good. So, but I am pleased. Bit surprised though. This is a bush variety. I didn't think it would spiral, right, as much as it has. And by spiral, I mean trellis. This has really vined out. I was expecting a bush formation, but to me, it didn't vine out no more than any normal cucumber plant would, right? So it is what it is. And who knows, this may not even be a bush slicer. You just truly never know. So, but they will definitely be added in the garden next year. And over here is my eggplant. I have one eggplant here, looking good. And this is the Black Beauty. So they have a ways to go. And here's another eggplant. Green and lush, nice and healthy. And here's that one cucumber I was telling you about. And this one here, this is another eggplant. I don't know what happened to this bud here, it just died out. But it is producing more, so. And over here is my Shishito Peppers. I have harvested, they were really slow to put on this year. I was concerned because I absolutely love Shishito Peppers. I put them in my salsa. I use them as a green pepper replacement. I eat them with my sandwiches. I mean, any way you can consume a pepper, that's how I consume these. You can pickle them. I've yet to pickle them, but love eating them fresh, sauteed, delicious. So it has really done well. And as you can see, it's putting on, this is like a third round. Look at that, of Shishito Peppers. And again, it started off really slow. So I'm just exercising patience this year. Exercise patience, so. Yep, as you can see. And here is my oregano. They are starting to die back and put on flowers. So they are perennial, so they will be back, God willing, next year. So I will be making another harvest on these and dehydrating these. I'm gonna cut them back really heavy, almost like maybe 3 inches high heavy. So, but they've done well. And here is my Cherokee Purple. Finally, okay, I have a tomato. Like I said, guys, I have been like on edge this year with my garden. I'm like, am I just growing all leaves this year? What is going on? They're slow to flower. They're yet to produce. What's going on? What's going on? So, but there's a lot of different variables and moving parts to this growing season this year. So I take that into consideration. And again, I'm gonna keep saying it's exercise patience. So as you can see, more tomatoes forming. So again, exercise patience. Can't wait to harvest those. And here is my mint plant on its last leg, starting to flower, go to seed. It did what it came to do. It showed up and showed out, all green and lush. I have harvested repeatedly from my herb plants this year, so their time is come and gone. And this here is the Brandywine. I am not pleased with this plant at all. I think I'm gonna put this plant out. It looks like, I'm looking at the leaves. It looks like maybe it may have been infected with something. I don't know. If something was sprayed on it, I do not know, but it's not looking healthy to me. And this is the Brandywine pink, I believe. No, this is the Brandywine variety, which is the red, pink, and the yellow. So, we'll see. And this here's another Brandywine. I think I'm gonna pull this up. This is not gonna mount to anything. It's just not enough time for this to grow and really produce a nice, bountiful harvest for me. And this here's my sage, perennial. She'll be back next year. She's starting to die off. I'll be making one final harvest on all of my herbs over the weekend and do some dehydrating and just let them peter out for the season. And this here was a strawberry plant that didn't do anything. I think it may have been waterlogged. It's starting to die off. So, and there's a raspberry stick in there that didn't do anything, but I'm going to leave it there. We'll see what happens next year. And this here is my pineapple sage doing her thing. So I will be harvesting from her as well and dehydrating the leaves. And these two here were supposed to be dahlias. I need to up pot these, which would probably explain why it hasn't mounted too much. The container is too small. So, and this here is strawberries, perennial. We'll see if it comes back next year. And this here is another Shishito pepper that I left for dead. And this baby has been producing like crazy. I harvested like 15 peppers off of this baby the other day. And I put it in my salsa, canned up some salsa. And look at it. It's just producing. And this here, I'll bring you all along. This is a Chicago fig tree that I need to up pot, that I have been prolonging for the longest. So, yeah. And over here is my Meyer lemon tree. Give you all a quick glimpse of what's going on the porch front. This here is lemongrass. Need to harvest from these two. Need to make another harvest off of the blue sage. My chives, as you can see, I cut them back pretty aggressively. So I put those on some baked potatoes not too long ago. And the rest I'm going to dehydrate. And this plant, I always forget the name of it, but it's a when you have cuts and scrapes and stuff like that. So it's supposed to be good for that. Antiseptic plant or something like that. And this here is my beautiful catnip. As you can see, she too is starting to flower because it's been hot as of late. Don't need to tell anyone who lives on the planet that. And here are the last of the onions. I'm gonna go ahead and pull these up and put something else in its place. I haven't decided. I'm thinking maybe I'll grow some Swiss chard here. So we'll see. Spearmint, looking good. I'm going to pull these onions up. And my fig tree is looking gorgeous. Gorgeous. So I'm just waiting for her to ripen. And we can harvest some figs. And this here, my poor basil here, I have used this. Oh, look at that little bumblebee. She is on her last leg. I've gotten a lot of use out of that basil plant. So I'll take you all down to the other opposite side. This is a Paul Robeson. And I planted, what is this, watermelon radishes at the bottom. It's coming along, like I said, it's been slow, but they have a lot of buds. So it looks promising. You guys excuse the noise in the back. We're having construction done. They're installing a pipe in the back here, so you may hear the guys talking in the back there. Some of the homeowners in the neighborhood have been complaining due to the severe thunderstorms and downpours we've had this summer that some of the water is starting to leak into their basement. So they're putting a drainage pipe out here. And this here is the black cherry. As you can see, I have 2 little cherry tomatoes there. Oh, 3. And it's still producing, so. And as I mentioned, there was a tomato plant here I had to pull up, and this here is just a marigold. And this here is the 2 rhubarbs that I was telling you all about. I just got caught up in the shiny object and wanted to have rhubarb in the garden this year. It's not doing well at all. It started off really nice, And now it's starting to peter out, but I'm gonna pull it up. I'm gonna pull it up and plant something else in its place. I don't know why. Like I still, I don't know why. Shiny object. You know, I want rhubarb. Let me have some of this rhubarb. It's beautiful. I'm gonna try rhubarb. I want to make a rhubarb pie and all that. All these great recipes that I wanted to try, not knowing until after the fact that you have to wait 2 years, right? Because you want them to establish their roots before you can harvest the stalks, right? The leaves are toxic, so you can't consume those anyway. So over here is a pepper plant. This is our fatale peppers. Now, if you want a spicy pepper, these are spicy and they have a beautiful citrus smell to them, but they are hot. I mean, hot, hot. And it hasn't put on any stems yet, so looks like I'm growing all green leaves, but we'll see. Peppers are generally slow to produce, so give it some time. And down here, I have some beets that I planted in my effort of doing some interplanting this year, maximizing my container space. It's producing as much as I can for the space that I have. So here's another fatale. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fatale peppers. So if these come to fruition and produce some peppers, we're going to be loaded in peppers. And that is a great problem to have. And here is another fatale, and at the bottom of this one, I planted, I believe this is a watermelon radish. As you can see, the leaves have been riddled by insects. So, fatale pepper here. And here is the cosmic purple carrots. Let me pull up one and see if we have anything on here. I doubt it's a little too early. I should have thinned this out, but we'll see. These are carrots, and here is a Dr. Weiss tomato plant. Hasn't put on not one tomato. See, it's blooming, but no tomatoes. So we'll see. And this one has another Dr. Weiss. We have 2 tomatoes on this one. This is pretty dismal, guys. I mean, considering the time that I have left and how long these plants have been out here, they should have produced way more than what I have. What? 2, 3 visible tomatoes. Everything else is in blooms, and today is July 28th. So yeah. And over here is a pineapple tomato variety, and it hasn't produced not one tomato. There's stems, and I've seen some, blossoms. And I'm feeding them high intakes of phosphorus and potassium because they are blooming plants. So you want to encourage the root development so that they can put on fruit. So we shall see. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 containers of my family favorite tried and true. None other than my Clemson spineless okra, and they're doing well. Remember, these 6 containers here had cabbage in them. They didn't do well. They started off great, but they ended poorly. So I succession planted some okra. So when one crop is finished, replace it with something else. No container should be left empty. It should be producing for you and your family. That's the point of your gardening, right? Is to produce food. Is to produce as much food as you can. So these are 6 Clemson spineless, 6 okra plants. And these 4 that had potatoes in them, I planted some transplants. I planted some more, tomatoes, potatoes in them. I planted some tomato transplants in here. and they're doing well. And this one here, look like it has blight of some sort, but it looked worse than that. So this one is on the mend. So I need to pull this here off. I thought I got most of it because it was really riddled in disease. So the varieties are, this is Aroma, which is a paste tomato. Great for adding into sauces, making tomato paste. So this is Aroma. This is a German. No, this is another Roma. So I got two Romas. And get my cup before I leave it out here because I'm notorious for doing that. And this is my German Pink. These are slicers. Great for sauces and tomato sandwiches. And this is another German Pink. And last but not least, this is my blueberry bushes. Blueberry bushes didn't do well this year. They started off really well, and they were loaded in blueberries. And a little hummingbird took to my blueberry bushes, and I let her have the rest. I did harvest some, and they were really good, but I let her have the rest. So she comes by periodically, and she takes berries. And this here is a coriander. What is this? A Vietnamese coriander, and this thing is booming. So I will be making a big chop on this one and dry up and dehydrating the leaves. So yeah, this is new to the garden this year. So, but yeah, this is how everything is looking. You know, it is what it is. And these won't be ready until probably October to harvest the sweet potatoes. And I gave you all a tour, an update on the rooftop and the balcony. So as you can see, my cucumbers up there are starting to flower. So yep, so this concludes the end of garden tour number 2 for summer 2022. There will be more tours to come. Hopefully in the next video, these pepper plants will be littered with fruit, and I can bring you all back for a harvest. Oh, this looks so promising. Okay guys, I hope all is well